my purpose, this was just kind of my musings and my discovery. When I first got into building online courses, I looked at myself more as a meditation teacher than a media maker. And it was through the process of building my online businesses over the years that I became more of a media maker than a meditation facilitator. And so my hopes are that that this little speech here, this campfire story, is going to offer you a unique perspective on your own situation and your own business. So I'm going to share my screen. We're going to jump into the presentation, and we can take questions at the end. And if you are tuning in via our blog at the Great eCourse Adventure, then what you're experiencing right now is our weekly coaching. We do 90 minutes of Q&A and presentations, and we bring on different presenters every week, myself included, to help coach, inspire, teach new skills, all that sort of good stuff to help you all become better media makers and creators. And there we go. So, you might think you are a coach, a healer, a teacher, a facilitator, an e-course creator, maybe a meditation teacher. Maybe you think you're an equestrian teacher. Maybe you think you are a life or a business coach. You might think you're something, but you're none of these things. If you're here right now, you're not any of those things. So what are you? What you actually are is a media company. And this here was a big realization for me. I'm just gonna, anybody who's just coming on, if you just mute yourself, that would be glorious. When I had this realization, actually it's just in the last little while that this became really clear for me, that eCourse Adventures is actually a media company. Building online communities, if you're doing that, then you are a media company. I'm working with Mighty Networks right now, and my message to them, guys, if you're listening, you are not a social media platform, you're a media company. We're all here as media companies, and sure, our media company's sole purpose might be to teach people to make better e-courses and might coach people to live a more inspiring life, but that's the end result of what we do. And what we do is we create media that helps facilitate that. Unless you're doing in-person workshops, you, my friends, have media companies. Think about it. You write blogs, you write articles, you write stories, you write social media posts, you create videos, you build online digital communities, you create audio experiences, guided visualizations, meditations, you broadcast through a newsletter or some form of publishing distribution, you create digital experiences. You have a media company. Each of us is media makers. And when we really open ourselves up to this idea that, we're not just this person who builds online courses, but I'm actually a coach or a teacher, that we're actually media makers. For me, the perspective shift is like, well, I need to create really freaking good media if my company's purpose is to make media. And I've worked with hundreds of people over the last 5 or so years, coaching them, and through the eCourse Creation Blueprint, and now the Great eCourse Adventure, and all of the individual clients and community members that I've worked with. And I would say, 80% of the people, I'm just pulling that random number out here, but it's probably pretty accurate, resist this. They don't want to get in front of the camera. They don't want to learn the technology to become a better video producer or editor. They don't want to learn green screen because it seems too scary. They don't want to learn how to, write better sales copy or produce better websites. They just want to teach their thing. And in order for you to teach your thing, you have to be a better media maker. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You have to create better media. And so my intention with this presentation today was that this realization that you actually own a media company helps to dissolve whatever resistance you might have about the media side of your business, which should be 80% of what you're here to do if you're serious about building online courses and creating an online company. Because you think about it, media is what's going to get your message out to the masses in your industry, in your niche market. Media is the thing that's going to amplify your impact. I went from teaching, small workshops with 2 to 25 people in them, leading 500 of those over the course of 2 years, to over the course of the next 2 years, once I put my eCourses online, to reaching thousands of people in more than 50 countries. It was media that did that. I could never have done that with my workshops. It probably would have taken me 20 years of traveling the world to reach as many people as I did with the media. And in case you can hear the background right now, that is the sound of delicious coffee being ground. So I hope you can forgive the background noise in this noisy cafe here. So it's media that's going to expand your impact. And it's media, making media, that's going to increase your income. I now make over 90% of my income comes from online sales through media experiences that I have created in the past. And this is the exact same for all of you, that if you want your message to get out, if you want your work to get out, if you want to increase your impact on planet Earth, if you want to grow your income beyond what you can make through small coaching practice or workshops, then you need to become a better media maker. You need to create better digital experiences for people. That's the bottom line. So how do you run a media company? That's the question I was asking myself. Well, I'm actually a media company. What do I do? It's simple. You make media every day. That's the bottom line. And your media doesn't have to be social media. I mean, I'm not on any social media networks anymore aside from the eCourse Adventures community. That might change in the future, but right now this is where I'm at. And so your media could be your script writing, it could be your storyboarding, it could be producing videos, it could be social media stuff, it could be writing your blog, it could be creating your podcast or audio meditations. There's so many different forms of media that you could be doing, but you have to be doing this every day. I mean, I look at I was just realizing the other day that these weekly coaching sessions, I've been doing these for 2 years straight, every single Monday. I've probably missed maybe 5 Mondays in the last 2 years here. And the consistency is what gets us to a space of greatness, that helps us to evolve. If we're not consistent, if we're not creating that rhythm and continually showing up for the people who are possibly going to be listening to what we have to say, then they don't believe in us because we're not showing up consistently. Even when I had my meditation business and I was just getting started, sometimes 2 people would show up, sometimes 1 person showed up, sometimes 10, 20. And the commitment I made to myself back then was, well, how can I treat this 1 person or this 2 people the exact same way as if there was a room full of 100 people or 20 people? How badly do I really want this work to get out into the world? And for me, that was what caused me to really put my heart and soul into that meditation stuff. And I wasn't making huge money by any means. I mean, I was a struggling entrepreneur, which was half the reason why I decided that I wanted to get online, because I saw that as a way to really scale and grow. So if you're going to get serious about this whole having a media company thing, then where do you focus on getting better and more consistent? Well, you need to become a better storyteller. You need to pay attention to people that are great storytellers. You need to pay more attention when you're watching a movie or watching a YouTube video or watching a marketing ad and trying to dissect where's the story in this and how can you be a better storyteller? How can you tell your stories better? How can you tell your students' stories better? Video production is the same thing. You've got to learn to get comfortable in front of the camera or behind the camera and directing somebody or creating videos where maybe you don't need to be in front of the camera, but there is some form of story, there's narrative, there's teaching that's happening. You got to become a better editor. You've got to get more comfortable with green screening. And we do have the Green Screen Magic course that's in full production right now, which you will all have access. My commitment's by sometime in May, it will be fully available. So I'm stoked about that. The audio production side of thing, I mean, when I started with my online meditations, the quality was so terrible. It's embarrassing, but people liked it because the processes were good. And then we just kept getting better and better, and I got better equipment and better background music. And it just, now my meditation work is #1 on Omvana, and it has been for like the last 3 years and running. And I've had some pretty big licensing deals over the last couple years here with companies, and that work has just expanded because I just kept focusing on making the best possible media. And same goes for writing. That's why we did the daily writing challenge a couple months ago, because you need to be a phenomenal writer. Your script writing, copywriting, writing your storyboards out, writing your vision, your business plan, all these things require you to become a more skilled writer. Writing is like the center of your media company. There's no escaping that. And your communication skills, communicating your ideas simply and clearly, that takes a lot of practice. I mean, I can't tell you the amount of crazy hours Andy and I spent refining our message. And, that Star Wars Outer Space Masterclass, we probably spent almost 100 hours of copywriting between Blair, Andy, and I, because we tried to refine, it was like a 90-minute video to a 48-minute video. And even still, I'm like, man, we're way too long-winded for this. So, you're to communicate clearly and effectively to your audience so they know what you're talking about. It's not just know what you're talking about. And same goes for your broadcasting, being consistent. We publish our weekly smoke signal every week. We publish the Beyond the Blueprint every week. We've been doing the Beyond the Blueprint. I think we're somewhere around 41 weeks in a row that we've been publishing that. And the smoke signal has been going out basically, aside from Christmas time, every single week for 2 years and running now. And so your broadcasting needs to be consistent to people, because you're creating an ongoing dialogue with this group. So where do you get focused on getting better? All things media. So we've got a few journaling questions for you. We're just going to take about 5 minutes for you to grab a notebook or open a window on a computer and just answer these questions quick and dirty, and then you can dig in a little bit longer afterwards. So question 1 is just a simple yes or no. Are you currently treating your business like a media company? Are you taking that side of your business serious? Yes or no? And if you were to fully own your domain as a media company, what would you change in how you're running your business? How would you show up differently if you treated your company, at least this branch of the company, like a media business? What would change for you? And the third question, what form of media do you most love playing with and using? For me, it's the video stuff is just so fun. The script writing, the creating the story, the themification, the writing the curriculum, all of that stuff is just gravy for me. So what about you? What kind of media do you most love? Makes you feel most excited to actually sit down and do the work? Fourth is, what part of running a media company do you resist the most? Do you not like? Is it getting in front of the camera? Is it doing your broadcasting every week? What is it? For me, it was social media. I couldn't stand it. And so I dropped all my social media accounts. And I feel so much happier and more inspired and creative because of that choice. And the fifth question is, how can you get over it? Or make that something you love or delegate? For me, getting over it was quitting social media altogether, realizing that I can only focus my energy in so many spaces. And for me, building relationships was a more important and worthy investment of my time, energy, and resources than spending my waking hours on social media. So for you, if getting in front of the camera is something you resist, is that something you can just get over? Can you persevere and practice and just commit to being better at that and finding your own way? Because I used to hate it. I used to hate getting in front of the camera. I used to hate doing audios, but I just kept doing it, and eventually it becomes natural. And so for you, is there a part of your business that you can fall in love with? Or delegate? Is there somebody in your life? Could you hire? Could you partner with somebody who'd be better at that? Make them a shareholder in your business. Pay them a percentage of sales. You don't have to do it all yourself. So these are your questions to ponder, because, as I said, you're actually a media company. You write, you produce videos and audios, you broadcast newsletters, you build digital communities and digital experiences. That is your role. All of that is media. And if you get better at that, then your message will get out to the people who are waiting for it. Your impact will be amplified in ways that you can't even imagine. I could not imagine 5 years ago when I launched my first eCourse that I could grow it to 50 countries around the world and do all the stuff that I've done. I mean, I did imagine it because I wanted it, but I didn't really know how that was possible. And, to be able to develop your income, all of that stuff is by choosing to run your business like a professional media company would. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So that, my friends, is our little presentation for today.